I think one can easily get lost in trying to find a poem, a poet, a style of poetry. But then my question is, what's so wrong with being lost or getting lost in it? And then maybe one poem becomes a stepping stone on a path to other poems, to other poetries, to other styles. So the getting lost is fine if one does not mind not knowing the answer. Death, rot, decay, violence, and the way that they manifest in reality versus the way that they manifest in our imaginations. And so the way that I think about the grotesque is bringing some kind of aesthetic properties to these things that we fear or that we find to be gross, and showing them a different angle of them because they're natural. They're going to happen. They're going to continue to happen, whether it be an injustice or just part of the nature, you know. Um, and so for me, the grotesque is just looking at a different kind of side of these things that make us so uncomfortable. I say 80% I go straight to the laptop and just start freestyling or working on something I've been thinking about for a while. I use the paper and the pad to do things where I need to force myself to slow down or I need to work out a form that the laptop won't allow me to do. So it helps me to manipulate things more easily than if I went straight to the laptop. So with the poems that are circular in the book, I had to draw that out on paper first before I could even, I had to, figure out what I wanted to do before going to the laptop. What I wanted to do in particular with that poem, the inheritance poem, is make, and I wanted it originally to fold out, but we didn't have the funding to do that. And so we made it so that it covers 2 pages. And I wanted people to have, when they're reading the poem, a noose in their hands. I wanted them to have the object of the noose in their hand. I didn't want it to be an abstraction of slavery or oppression or lynching history. I wanted them to have an object in their hand to manipulate it, to have to turn it and physically, deal with it. And I also wanted it to be something that when the page is turned, it's like you're folding it away, you're hiding it, you're putting it away. Because Twitter only gives you, 140 characters, people get very creative, very creative. And just looking at the way that folks have to manipulate the language in order to get a complete thought across with so few characters, that has been interesting. There are even some poems floating around that mimic the 140 character model or mode of Twitter. So that's affected poetry already. What could be argued to be the savior of poetry is the online journal, where someone can publish your poem online for you, and without necessarily having a subscription or needing a subscription, someone from India can read that poem. Someone from Nigeria can read that poem. It gives equal access to your work all over the world, and it's immediate. Poetry, I think, needs that. I think it feeds off of that kind of accessibility. As much as it is an honor, it's also something that's a responsibility. And so, yes, I have these opportunities, but how can I use them to build other opportunities for other people so that, we're not always feeling as though we're stepping on one another. It's competitive because people make it competitive. And when I say people, I don't necessarily mean the poets. Like, we're under a lot of duress when it comes to funding, when it comes to jobs. All those things interfere with the craft of poetry. They don't enhance it. And so as long as poetry grows at the same rate that a community grows, I think we'll be okay. And it'll be fine for other people to come in as readers or writers and get lost in that. But one can also get lost in this idea of there's not enough. There are too many. Whereas mine, just write, though, and learn and read other people's work. That's how we build the community. That's how we build a community. And I think that's how I do it. I try to steer away from all of that and say, okay, what is Yusef Komayako talking about? Okay, Kate Marvin, she has something to say. What does she say? She's published it. She made it such that I could read it. Let me have a conversation with her through her work. Let me see what Carl Phillips is talking about. Not what someone who is very upset about something, whether it's valid or not. I can't focus on that. I have a poem in my heart.